Hello, fifth graders. This is lesson 13-4, reasoning. This is the problem-solving lesson, so we're still going to be working with expressions, just in problem-solving problems. Okay, so we're going to start with the guided practice. Todd has 4 baseball card albums like the one pictured. Here it is. It says 42 cards in each album, so he has 4 of those. He lets his best friend Franco choose 5 cards from each album. How many cards does Todd have now? Okay, so number 1 says, write an expression to represent the total number of cards in Todd's album before he gives some cards to Franco. Okay, so I'm just going to start with that part. So, he has 42 cards in each album, so 42. And then he has 4 of those albums. So 42 times 4. Because there are 42 cards in each of the 4 albums. So that's my first expression to represent his total amount of cards. And then it says, explain how your expression represents the quantities and the relationship between the quantities. So, sorry about that. 42 means cards in each album is what the 42 represents. The 4 represents the number of albums he has. And then we're multiplying, so it says the relationship between them, okay? We're multiplying, so I'm just going to put the X for multiplying, because there are 42 in each of the 4 albums. 42 in each of the 4 albums. Now I know I don't expect you to write down these questions. They're big, they're long, but you can definitely at least write down the other work that I do. Whatever I write down, you should write down too. Okay, write an expression to represent the total number of cards in Todd's albums after he gives some cards to Franco. So he gave 5 from each album to Franco. So if he starts with 42 in each album, he's going to lose 5 of each of those because Franco's taking 5 of each, okay? Now, you have to remember there are still 4 albums. So even though he gets to take 5 from each album, you're still going to multiply that by 4 to show the 4 albums, okay? And then finally, how many cards does Todd have after he gives some cards to Franco? Explain how you solved the problem. So we're going to explain it by solving it. All right? So I'm going to say 42 minus 5 times 4. Okay? And we're going to solve that using the way that we learned in lesson 13-1. So 42 minus 5, you can count that down, and it's 37. Okay, the parentheses are gone because I solved 42 minus 5. And now I just have times 4. Now I don't know what 37 times 4 is, so I'm going to go over here and solve it. So 7 times 4 is 28. Sorry, I have to write over the M. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 2 is 14. So my final answer, 37 times 4, is 148. So now he has 148. I should have put my label. Cards. Okay? All right, next problem. We're going to do one more. So, Brandon is filling a flower order for a banquet. He needs 3 large arrangements and 12 small arrangements. I'm going to underline that. 3 large and 12 small. Whoops. The large arrangements each contain 28 roses. The small arrangements each contain 16 roses. How many roses does Brandon need in all? So in all means I'm going to be putting things together. So adding probably is what I'm going to be doing. All right, number 4. Write an expression to represent the total number of roses Brandon needs. Okay, so he needs 3 large arrangements. So we're going to need 3 large arrangements, and the large arrangements each contain 28 roses. So I'm going to take that 3 and I'm going to multiply it by 28 roses per large arrangement. Sorry. He also needs 12 small arrangements, and the small arrangements each contain 16. So I'm going to take that 12 of those and I'm going to multiply it by 16 roses in each one. Now, those two I want to keep together. So I'm actually going to put parentheses around both of them. Then it says how much he needs in all. And when we say in all, we know we need to add. So I'm going to multiply that, and then add them together. Okay? So number 5 says, explain how the numbers, symbols, and operations in your expression represent the problem. So the 3 times 28 represents the large arrangements. Okay. And then the other one, the 12 times 16, represents the small flower arrangements. I know I write kind of fast, so if you ever need to pause, you can do that. Okay. Then the plus, right? I did plus, I'm adding them together because it says we need to know how many flowers there are in all. Okay. So number 6, how many roses does Brandon need? So I actually have to solve it. So I'm going to go down here, 3 times 28 plus 12 times 16. So I'm just solving the problem that I wrote up here. Now, if I see 2 parentheses, I can actually do both at the same time, okay? So I'm going to do 3 times 28 first. I'm going to come over here. 28 times 3. 8 times 3 is 24. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 2 is 8. So under my 3 times 28, I'm going to write my answer of 84. Now I need to do 12 times 16. 12 times 16. So I do 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 1 is 7. I use the 6, I use the 1. I have my 0 placeholder. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 1 is 1. And then I add them together. 2 plus 0 is 2. 7 plus 2 is 9. And 1 plus 0 is 1. Sorry, I didn't let you look at that very long. So over here, 12 times 16, I would have 192. And then between the two of them, I would still have my plus sign. Now my last step is adding them together. So I would just go over here and I would do 192 plus 84. 2 plus 4 is 6. 9 plus 8 is 17. And 1 plus 1 is 2. So the total amount of flowers he has is, roses. They're talking about roses. 276 roses. All right, use what you learned today to help you on your practice problems.